So if somebody's on a tighter budget, and you said the scope is the most important other than the rifle, there's so many features on a scope. You can locking turrets, first focal plane, second focal plane, all this different stuff. What parts are must-have features, and what are just like nice to have?
Must-have, number one, a first focal plane scope. That for anybody that doesn't know what that is as you change the magnification on your scope, the subtensions or the reticle is basically a ruler. So we pay a lot of money for it just to have a ruler on our scope. But the holds stay the same regardless of what magnification that you're on. If it's not a first focal plane, then your holds are going to be changing every time that you touch that magnification. And holdovers, especially in the gas gun series, they're pretty much required if you want to get through the stage quick. Even with bolt guns, it's you may be on a stage that is a pretty short time limit, or if you're hunting, or really any scenario that you need to make a quick shot, a holdover is going to be the quickest option for you. So
with first focal plane, what's the downside of that first focal plane? Is there any?
F-class shooters and a lot of bench rest shooters don't like them, and frankly, they don't really need them for what they're doing. With that reticle staying the same dimension, it looks like it gets fatter as you increase the magnification. You're just looking at it closer, so it's not necessarily getting fatter. You're just looking at it. So that's But there's enough different types of reticles out there. There's floating dots. There's open centers. That you can still get a very precise hold on a very small target. So
you're using a normal crosshair, or are you using like a Horus?
Right now I'm shooting the Vortex Razor Gen 2, so their EBR 2C reticle. It's kind of I like it. It's a good hybrid. So it has a little bit of an open center. So if I'm zeroing, at 100 yards, I can put a 1/4 inch dot in there, and it fits pretty well. So that works great for low development and zeroing, and honing in on those really small targets. But at the bottom, it has a Christmas tree. Vortex's design. Every mil out that it goes for the wind, it has a little bit bolder dot, and then has 0.2 mil dots in between those bold ones. So they're a little bit more faint. So what I've noticed in using that scope and that reticle is that I don't notice the Christmas tree if I don't need it. So if I'm dialing everything and holding center crosshair, then it doesn't really obstruct any of my field of view for spotting shots or anything like that. But when I do need it, it shows up fine. I can see everything and have very precise holds, especially when it's really windy and we're shooting long distances, so that I'm not holding out in the middle of nowhere in the reticle. So I think having some sort of Christmas tree is definitely valuable, but it's not for everybody. So it boils down to personal preference. So with the first focal plane reticle, try out a Christmas tree reticle. If it's not for you, then maybe try it out a little bit more. But everybody shoots differently, so it's not a deal breaker necessarily.
Cool. So we got first focal plane is a must-have. What's like a nice feature that may not necessarily be a must-have, but if you have it, it's worth the extra money.
Actually, so when I first got the Vortex, I didn't think that I would care that much for the locking turrets. I thought it was kind of unnecessary, but now that I have them and that I have a lot of time behind it, it's just a really nice peace of mind. Kind of like a little insurance policy. You just lock that turret down and you know that it's not going to go anywhere. And when you break that shot, you're not going to have to worry about, did my scope turn when I took it out of the bag, or if I was carrying it across the range, did it slip on my jacket and adjust that way. So locking turrets actually turned out to be pretty nice. But again, not for everybody, but I ended up liking them a lot. With the turrets, I will say this is a little bit more than a nice to have. I would say it's almost a required in that, and this is for shooters that are using mil radian adjustments. Just make sure that you have 10 mils per revolution on the turret, because it's really easy to get lost when you're only using 5 mils per revolution, especially when you're shooting multiple targets. One target may be at 200 yards, the next target may be at 1,200 yards. So that's a lot of revolutions to be keeping track of when you're trying to shoot a target under a time limit everybody's watching from a weird position. So just try and make it as easy on yourself as possible.